Hello, welcome everyone to our Q&A for our upcoming course, Answering the Sacred Call to Mediumship. This is a 7-week video training where you'll learn evidence-based practices to communicate with loved ones and others in the spirit world. I'm Ann Patricio, and I'll be your host today, and I'm really honored to be here with Suzanne Giesmann. And we'll be learning about her upcoming course, Answering the Sacred Call to Mediumship, which begins on Wednesday, October the 16th. Now, you can join us for this course, even if you won't be able to join us live, and I'll be able to tell you more about that in a bit. But first, I want to introduce my guest. Suzanne Giesmann is a messenger of hope and the founder and teacher of The Awakened Way, a path to knowing who you are and why you're here. She's a former U.S. Navy commander who served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of Chief. I'll say that again. She is a former U.S. Navy commander who served as a commanding officer and aide to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff on 9/11. And today, Suzanne provides stunning evidence of the existence of universal consciousness and our interconnectedness. Quite a change, right? She's authored 13 books, and whether through her books or CDs, her classes or workshops, her messages of hope, Unity online radio show, or her one-on-one sessions, Suzanne brings messages of hope and healing and love that go straight to the heart and illuminate the light of self-awareness within. I've so enjoyed getting to know a bit about her from my research, and now I want to welcome Suzanne on. She's going to lead us in a centering practice. Welcome, Suzanne. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Anne, and welcome everybody. I'm just honored that you all would take time out of your day to share with us today, and hopefully you'll take away something of value, some answer that is exactly what you needed to hear today. And in order that all of you are open to receive what Spirit is going to share with us today through me, I would like to lead you in a practice that I've found so useful in helping us to remember that we're so much more than these bodies, our mind, and the story of our lives, so filled with drama, aren't they? So if you just take a moment and join me, let's take a nice cleansing breath, and it's very helpful to exhale longer than you inhale. So join me in that, won't you? That always feels so good. And now just close your eyes for a moment and imagine a shaft of light coming down from above and surrounding you completely and grounding you into the center of the earth. This is a wonderful tool to visualize how you're always connected to the heavens and to this physical world at the same time. Move your awareness to the center of your being, the heart. But not just the physical heart, your energetic heart center. That's the bridge between your multiple selves at various dimensions. In this area, there's a light that never goes out. Even if the physical body were to pass, that light is your essential nature. So with your awareness there, turn up that light. Fill what you know as your energetic field, this sphere around you, with even brighter light. And now imagine rays of that light going out in all directions. And know that you are just one of many people having this experience, all of us together, drawn here by Spirit in this moment. And your rays are intersecting with theirs. Feel that energy of the group. Know that we're all kindred spirits, and feel the connection we all share as the light. In this awareness, there's no separation. And the definition of lack of separation is love. So how blessed are we that for the next hour, we get to just bathe in this energy of shared love and connection. And I hope that just this simple practice has helped you to just shift gears a little bit and now be fully present with us for this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. So we'll be spending the rest of our time together exploring questions for Suzanne as we prepare for her video course, Answering the Sacred Call to Mediumship. And that begins on Wednesday, October the 16th. Please go over and visit our website, sacredcallofmediumship.com. That's sacredcallofmediumship.com, You can learn more about the 7-week course and find a link to register there. So let's get started. If you have a question for Suzanne, please type it in and I'll be happy to read it out. And I want to thank all of you for posting so many wonderful questions through the webcast for this event. So we're going to begin with a question through our webcast by Susan. She asks, if our higher self is always present in greater reality, heaven, and presumably is surrounded by divine love, why would it ever want to incarnate, especially to Earth?
This may seem counterintuitive to those who are suffering it right now, perhaps from grief or going through the normal challenges of being incarnated. But we do it for the joy of experiencing the fullness of life. And it is those challenging times that truly help us to appreciate when we've grown from those times. So when we're going through the rough patches, boy, it's easy to sit back and say, I didn't sign up for this. But at a higher level, where the soul of you knows there is no death and we cannot be hurt, we are eternal beings, the soul of you knows all is in order. The more we can open up to that awareness, then the difficult times aren't so difficult. But again, they lead to even more joy as we come to truly know who we are.
Maydeen is asking, I want to know if you directly hear and see the spirits of your loved ones, and if they communicate directly with you in words that you can understand.
Yes, absolutely, I do. That was my goal when I got into this field of mediumship. I wanted to connect with my stepdaughter, Suzanne, who had passed. That was my sole goal. And what a blessing when I heard her in her own voice saying, hey, Suzanne. And I didn't see her face. And to this day, I'm just now beginning to see faces. But that's not so important because I feel the loved one's presence, my own family members and other people's loved ones. So feeling that essence as if we're one, hearing the voice, and then seeing specific images that they put in my mind's eye. It's exciting to me that more and more I'm seeing the faces, because this path of mediumship is never ending. It just gets better and better, which is very exciting. It should be exciting to all of us that there's no end to the journey. But yes, it is a mixture of all of those soul senses at once.
Great. This is another Susan who says that since my husband's passing a year ago, I've started to wonder if there is something I can do for him. Is that important to those who have moved on?
What a great question. The most important thing you can do for your loved ones across the veil is to trust that they're still with you and to show them that you're doing your best to focus on your thoughts, that when you become filled with grief or you're missing them, that you feel those, you allow that grief to be present, but then you remember they're right here and you rekindle those loving feelings and send that love to them. They're in a place where they're surrounded by love. So it's not that they need it, but who wouldn't appreciate that gift of the real time right now? I'm thinking of you. I'm sending you love. What a gift. So truly, what those on the other side appreciate the most is when we acknowledge that we're aware they're still part of my life.
Okay. Well, Georgia is asking, she says, hi, Suzanne, when you believe you have karmic cords and connections to the past loved one, should these be healed and cut? I'm speaking specifically to ease grieving and help with acceptance. I have a deep connection with my past sister, and I get very emotional when I think of doing something like this because I'm desperate to stay connected to her in any way that I can. However, my emotional and mental health with her passing and missing her physically in my life is a deep, huge struggle daily. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and if you think this helps, or if others have done this and it's guided to do this. I think she's referencing cutting the cords.
Yes. I want to tell all of you that answer that I'm giving you today, if I pause, it's because I'm tuning into my team of guides, Sanaya, to make sure the answer is coming from a joint effort, the highest place, and what I know from personal experience here working as a medium. And this is one of the things that I teach in my class, how to raise our vibration. It's one of the fringe benefits to working as a medium, because to make that connection all the more clear, we do need to root out any karmic challenges, any blockages that would cause static in the flow, the connection we have with the spirit world. I'm so aware that our English language limits us and also affects how we view things. So that word, cutting cords, I would cut that out of your vocabulary. We don't want to think ever that we're cutting our loved ones out of our life. So really what we're doing is rooting out lower vibrations that no longer serve us. That connection with your loved ones is eternal. We're all interconnected and it will never go away. So we don't want to give the impression that we're cutting them out of our lives, but what we're doing is shining a light on those areas that keep coming up that might block us from connecting with them. So try to find your own word, all of you, that will work for you better to show that I am looking for those places in my history or in my current life where we might have had recurring challenges in our relationship. But the reason we were together at all is because of the love that binds us eternally. So root those out, but the cords will never be severed.
Thank you for that, Suzanne. Kathy over on Facebook says, is it possible to communicate with the higher self of those still in their physical body?
You know, that just happened in a reading that I did 2 days ago. I was sitting with my client, also known as the sitter. I like using that term. The sitter wanted to hear from certain loved ones, but she didn't tell me who, and that's perfectly fine. And I tuned in and right away sensed her father. And because I practice evidential mediumship, in order to identify clearly this is your dad, he showed me certain things about him. And she said, well, Suzanne, that is my dad. I can tell because all of those things match him, but he's still living. The thing was, her dad has severe dementia. And this has happened in the past. His soul, which would be a higher aspect of him, all of us are souls now, and we communicate at a soul level beyond our awareness, but his soul had a message for her and for his wife, her mother, to let her know that even though it may appear that I don't know what's going on or I may be suffering, I'm actually playing right now in the spirit world, in both worlds at once. So that's just one aspect of our higher self. I teach in the course exactly in Model 1, the different levels of consciousness that we can tap into. And how that's possible is because we are multidimensional beings right now. So it's just fascinating.
It is, for sure. Jocelyn is asking, could mediumship come through art, receiving strong visions of an art nature?
Absolutely. You got me all excited with that question, because some of the most fascinating demonstrations of mediumship that I've ever seen have come from spirit artists. And the better the artist, the better they can depict your loved one. Now, I mentioned earlier that one of my strengths currently is not seeing faces, so I wouldn't be a very good spirit artist, but that's coming online for me now. However, artists who are normally very good at visualizing would make great spirit artists. The more they tune in, they can actually draw exactly who they're seeing in the spirit world. And there's nothing more evidential than holding up a drawing and the sitter says, why, that's my dad, or that's my child, or my wife, or my husband. Can you imagine the thrill of that, especially because the artist isn't just drawing the picture, they're saying, yes, and as I draw this, they're telling me this, and they're giving me this message for you, a message that truly touches the heart and carries evidence within it that this is them. Could there be any greater proof?
That's really fascinating. Yeah. Catherine is asking, can you identify spirit based on a projection of who you want to be there? Spirit is present, but we think it is someone else. Can this be a possibility?
I'd like you to ask that again, Lisa, because I'm a little bit confused about what's being asked here.
So Catherine is asking about projection. She says, can you identify spirit based on a projection of who you want to be there? Spirit is present, but we think because we want it to be so, we think it's someone else. Is this ever a possibility?
I hope that I understand her correctly, but I believe she's saying if you want so badly to hear from one person, you might identify it as this person, but it could be someone else. The best way to deal with any presence that you sense is to ask them for evidence from them, things you couldn't possibly know. I've even put my own family members to the test when they step into my awareness in meditation. In readings, I ask loved ones always to give me evidence to back up their beautiful messages so that the sitter knows beyond a doubt this is my loved one. But with my own loved ones, I remember once my father stepped in and I said, Dad, tell me something about Mom that I don't know, something going on in her life right now so that I am absolutely sure this is you and not a projection from my own desire to hear from you. And it was so because my dad said, well, your mother just painted her fingernails and she just found her electric curlers in the closet. About an hour later, my mother showed up and I asked her, Mom, what's up with your fingernails? And she said, oh, I just painted them for the first time in about 20 years. And then I asked her about the electric curlers and she had indeed just found them. So see, even our own loved ones, we can ask for evidence. There are many times in a reading where a loved one may want so badly here in the physical world, a sitter may want to hear from a loved one that they'll make things fit. And that's why in my classes, I teach people to go for what I call differentiators. That's those gold nugget pieces of evidence that apply only to a specific loved one. So even if you're projecting onto a presence that it's this specific person, that bit of evidence that comes through will make it clear, because those in the spirit world want to be recognized, want to be acknowledged, and they'll work with us if you're willing to stretch yourself to get those gold nuggets.
Jennifer says, regardless of how our loved ones pass, what is the experience like for them crossing over? How soon after they pass are they able to communicate with us?
Wow. I know this from personal experience from talking to thousands of souls who have passed, that every single one I have talked to has been met by love. The reason I made this little gesture, I don't know if I was on camera at the time when you asked that question, is because they've told me it's like being wrapped in a warm blanket, you know, one that's just come straight out of the dryer. And it's just this comfortable feeling. And it really doesn't matter how they pass. There are some that immediately don't realize that they've passed if it's been a very sudden passing. But I do want to assure those of you who are listening, there's a certain symbol I see. For example, when someone has been in a car accident, I know immediately if they passed on the spot. They show me this symbol just like this, and that means my soul was launched out of the body before I felt any physical pain. So the passing, all of them have assured me, is very easy. Instantly, most of them know that they have passed, but those who don't are gradually awakened to that reality. All are met either by loved ones or by guides who are certainly loved ones, but they may not recognize them immediately. And we could spend the rest of the hour talking about the experience in the afterlife, but that's just that initial welcome that they have is one of immense love, a different kind of lighting than we have here. And that light has a sense of life to it, a sense of intelligence. This is our source in actuality. So that's just a quick and dirty explanation. That's a Navy term.
We'll take quick and dirty. Yeah, we'll take it. This is a great follow-up to that, Suzanne. Cal is asking, I heard you mention that if someone is crabby in life, they will be crabby in the afterlife. and this really confused me. Can you speak more about this? Are you saying that this is often the case or sometimes? And
Yes.
could we be picking up their energy from their life form? And how does that relate even to that kind of warm and fuzzy you were talking about?
It is a perfect follow-up to that previous question, because what I have experienced and what my guides have told me is the being that you are when you cross through the veil is who you are immediately upon passing. And that's why, I mean, if you are a curmudgeon, which means like a grumpy old man, you're going to be instantly still that same curmudgeon. And it's up to you how quickly you change. This is why it's so important to us to raise our vibration while we're here, which is why in my teaching, so much of it is on clearing out, rooting out any blockages to being the presence, the expression of light that we are. So I have friends who, one in particular, my friend Brenda, who really worked hard at raising her vibration. And when she crossed the veil, she was immediately awakened and feeling the love. But if you were really crabby and shut down to your true nature, when you pass, you might just be looking around and a bit crabby. And because you are still a free will soul across the veil, you will awaken at your own rate. There's nothing that I love better in a reading than seeing this symbol. A spirit does that for me. Even though I don't see their face, I see that gesture. And that is a symbol that they all use with me to say, since I got here, I have seen the light. And they show me then what they were like personality-wise when they walked in a physical form. And they show me now I'm able to express my love. And I didn't say I love you enough to my loved one, and I want to say it now. And that's the beauty of being able to be the voice for those across the veil who have things they still have to say. I just want to very quickly explain about one. It's in my book, Messages of Hope. These two sisters that came through, and they just felt, they had a really challenging personality. I said, these two ladies are giving me the words, the evil twins. And my sitter said, that's what we called them. And these two ladies were so clinging to their old stories in spite of being surrounded by the light. And I questioned, why would they even come through in a reading if they weren't yet able to say, I love you, and they hadn't yet really realized who they are? And it's because they at least were helping us to see what mediumship is all about, to show that consciousness does continue after death. And they did that very well. Yeah.
Pamela asks, do our pets help guide us after they pass?
Oh my goodness. In fact, you just made me think of a story of a cat who came through in a reading and showed that the answer is absolutely an affirmative. Yes, they guide us if that is their chosen role, just like some of our loved ones in human form become guides to us, but not all of them. Same with our pets. In this case, the cat was walking beside her owner on her daily walks and said, I hear her when she talks to me on those walks. And my client confirmed that when she goes for daily walks and she talks to her cat. So the cat said, I'm protecting her. That's my job. And it turned out that my client's husband used to go up to that cat and say, now I'm going away for the weekend. You take care of mom. You protect her. That's your job. So see, you can even have an evidential reading with a cat, but I just use that as an example to show you that I'm not just saying yes. Those in the spirit world show us that it's true.
Sandy asks, how much did meditation help you in the beginning when you started exploring mediumship? And do you recommend it to those starting out?
Beyond a doubt, to me, it was the number one key in opening me to the spirit world. And I'm not talking about sitting for an hour a day. It's quality of time spent in the silence and not quantity. And sitting in the silence opens up that space in your mind so that when the spirit world is present, we sense them. It's absolutely critical. It was so odd for me back in 2006 when I began this journey to say to my husband, I'm going to go meditate now. Because if those of you think back to 2006, meditation didn't have the connotation that it does now. Now people know it as a good thing. But that back then, it was even just 13 years ago, it was a little bit of a woo-woo practice. We all know now the benefits of it, but for mediumship, it's absolutely vital. I would say that if I didn't keep that daily connection with the spirit world, starting my day off, connecting with my team of guides, and just helping me to remember who we are as multidimensional beings, it would be so easy to get sucked back into the drama of everyday life. So that period of what I now call sitting in the power being the life force that flows through us and is us, is my number one priority every day.
Suzanne, if we have an aging loved one or someone in our life who is ill, and we want to prepare both of us to communicate once they've passed or we've passed, whatever happens first. Can we do that? Can we do that kind of prep work here on this plane?
Oh, without a doubt. I would caution you not to ask for one specific sign. It's very human to want to do that. And I've had sitters, clients in readings who aren't satisfied unless they hear that one word, and they miss all the beautiful connection or communication that the loved ones are giving us. But do talk about the afterlife. Talk about each other's belief in the afterlife with a sense of wonder and excitement. Say, do your best to communicate with me. What signs do you think you might want to send? Signs are much easier than one specific password, for example. So just the mere fact that you're willing to talk about death puts you so far beyond most people who are afraid to even mention such a taboo topic. Just imagine the sense of ease it gives to your loved one to know that we're acknowledging something that is as much a part of life as birth is. And by saying, I'll be here for you, you don't have anything to be afraid of. Both of you, from your respective sides of the veil, you'll go into the whole process with so much more peace. And both of you will be maintaining that connection knowingly once that person does pass, looking for those signs and expecting that communication.
Thanks, Suzanne. So if you're just joining us, we are here with Suzanne Giesmann, learning about her course, Answering the Sacred Call to Mediumship, which begins on Wednesday, October the 16th. Please go over to sacredcallofmediumship.com to learn all about this course. It's going to be a rich one. There's also an opportunity to register there as well. I have a question from Marie. She says, years ago, I experienced the gift of tongues. Not rattled out, but slowed down and clear, and all words were clear but not understood. Then came several different languages. Allah is one word that I remember and understand. Several other languages come if I just basically wish for the same in some way, not knowing what will come. Can you help me grow or learn more about this through your course?
Again, one of the fringe benefits of learning mediumship is that you open up to the greater reality in general. You come to learn that you are this multidimensional being that I've mentioned earlier. And we get to have daily what I call adventures in consciousness, because we are souls, we are spirit itself in expression, and you come to learn how limitless we are. This body is a filter, and most of us have a belief system that I can't speak a foreign language. That's kind of funny because I was a foreign language major in college. And that belief that that's impossible will actually limit your ability to do it. When it happens spontaneously, as it did in this case, that is one of the fruits of the spirit, as we might call it. But the beauty of studying mediumship is you never know what you're capable of, but once you open to the spirit world is ready to work with you and may just throw surprises at you left and right. We come to know that we are the light, we turn it up, and we're only going to be open to positive experiences that serve the whole. And so by learning that we can actually have languages coming out of our mouth and saying, where did that come from? You immediately know, well, then it must be true. I'm so much more than this limited physical being.
Helen, and many others, actually, we've gotten a lot of questions through the webcast and also on Facebook about this, Suzanne, but about the word angel or angels in general. Angel has a connotation in our culture of a winged spirit who hasn't been in human form. Are you able to clarify what an angel is? Is an angel simply another term for spirit or guide? What can you say to us about that? Or several questions about that.
Sure. I have to tell you that when I first started this work, it was very hard for me to talk about spirit guides and angels. My background as a Navy commander was still hanging heavy over me, and that was just a little too far out there until my guides made it so clear to me. Angels are real. I've had experiences that just knock my socks off to show me that there is a level, a dimension of reality that is the realm of angels. And for the most part, they have not had human incarnations. There are helpers. We, throughout history, have images of them with wings. So if they need to make their presence known to some of us, whether objectively by showing up in a room with us or subjectively in our mind's eye, they may very well create this image of wings. So we'd recognize this is an angel. My guides, one of whom for sure is at the angelic realm, showed up to me just as this dancing, beautiful light and explained to me that that was the realm they were from. The word angel itself actually means messenger, and we have them around us all the time, and boy, they love it when we recognize them.
Marianne says, my father died 40 days before I was born. Is there a way that I can connect with him even though I've never met him?
This is where faith and trust that he absolutely is connected to you, and I have no doubt following you throughout your life, is here with you. You can't get evidence from any relationship you may have had with him, but if you want to ask him to validate, Dad, is this you? I feel your presence. Can you tell me something I don't know? This is the kind of an advanced practice that is just lovely when suddenly you sense things and you can go ask your mother or some other loved one, I sense Dad's presence and I suddenly saw this visual or I feel that he told me this or that. Do you know anything about that? Don't give up if the first time is not successful. This is very subtle communication at first. You can open it up more, but it must start with that belief that absolutely it's possible. And have a conversation. If you hear yourself saying, I'm just making this up, keep at it. The more you get into the flow of these kind of conversations with your loved ones, the more you'll start saying, wait a minute, those are not my words. And yeah, it's just a beautiful practice, and our beliefs are what get in the way most.
So another Suzanne on Facebook is asking, is it possible to become a medium or to use medium skills later in life?
I don't know what you mean by later in life. I became a medium, was about 47 years old when I discovered I could do this. Yeah, 47, 48. And that was kind of late in life, having never had any idea I could do this, not even knowing that the spirit world was real. And it's just opened up beautifully. I've had students who were in their late 70s and 80s in my class. And I can think of one right now, the most beautiful soul. And she used to be a unity minister, so very steeped in spirituality, but never thought she could do this too. And she is just having so much fun. It's like people that go back to college in their later years and learn new skills. We never stop learning. So the answer is absolutely an affirmative. And Anne, I would really like to lead everybody through a very simple practice that any of us can do that would help us to discern answers from the spirit world. How does that sound?
I think it's great time. I was actually just thinking about that. So good plan. Okay.
Well, we can often doubt if what we're hearing from the spirit world is real, or we want an answer to a question. And just about any question can be worded in such a way so that the answer is either yes or no. And there are two different ways I'd like you to practice. discerning a yes or no answer. The first is by using your body as a barometer. It just won't let you down. First, you have to make sure that whatever question you're asking for your body to answer, and believe me, this is your soul talking through the body, so it's a cooperative engagement here. Make sure that you're in a very relaxed state and that there's no fear surrounding the question you're asking. If you're very anxious about the outcome of something, you could get a false answer. So take a few very deep cleansing breaths like we did at the beginning of this session, exhaling longer than you inhale. And then you ask your question and tune into your heart and your solar plexus, what we would call the gut, because the statement that we have a gut feeling about something has a real reason, because that gut will speak to us. So just a clenching in that area of the heart or the gut, that's a no answer. But if you feel no clenching, if it feels open and loose, just nice and free, that's a yes. So I'm going to give you a way to ask this very easily. I'd like you to take a nice deep breath with me, just one. And I would like you to tune into your heart and your gut, your solar plexus right now, and notice how it feels. Hopefully there's no tension there at all. You're nice and clear. And I'd like you to silently state this statement. Is my name, and I want you to ask this question of yourself, is my name Suzanne Giesmann? Now, as I ask that question, nothing changes. But as you asked, am I Suzanne Giesmann? Hopefully you felt just a little bit of clenching, because every part of you knows that that's not a true question. Let's try that one more time. Ask this question, tuning into how you feel. Is my name John Wayne? And I just feel that little clenching right there. And now fill in the blank. Is my name, and state your name in the blank. Do that now for me. And see if you feel a difference. This is a practice you can try over and over, knowing the answer until you feel a difference. Ask yourself yes and no questions until you can discern it. Sometimes it's so subtle. And I have to take really quickly a moment here that my husband asked me if we should do something the other day, and it was a big life-changing decision. And I realized I had forgotten to give it the gut test. And I tuned in, I asked the question, and I noticed this subtle clenching, and all of a sudden I went, oh. And my husband said, what happened? And I said, I just got a gut punch like I had never gotten. And we both burst into laughter because my husband and I both knew this was not a good thing that we were about to embark on. So the spirit world really made it clear. So that's one way you can practice. Now, here's a different way where you actually can ask spirit. This one might take a few minutes longer, but it's really something that I teach in my mediumship classes. So I ask you to close your eyes. Take that nice centering breath again. And I know that all of you right now are surrounded by a team of helpers. You are never without at least your main spirit guide. Whether or not you have ever met that guide, I'd like you to just trust that that guide is with you. And because that guide is always with you, that guide is more than willing to answer any yes or no questions you ask of them. So right now, I would like you to focus on your heart. I'd like you to surrender any beliefs you have that you can't do this at all. Just drift in this nice, spacious state of just being a soul. And now focus, shift your focus to that spirit guide and ask your guide, from now on, if I have a question for you, what is our symbol for yes? Now, in that instant, I'd like you to just note, did you see something? Did you hear something? What was it? Let's ask the question again. And if you didn't get anything the first time, notice if you hear a word for yes, or if you see a symbol. If you got something the first time, see if it's replicated. So eyes closed, focused on that guide, knowing that guide is with you. Ask your guide now, what is our symbol for yes? All right. And now we do the same thing, focusing on the guide, looking to hear or see or even sense some change in your physical body. Oh, my guide, what is our symbol for no? There. It's that quick. What did you hear? What did you see? What did you sense? Let's ask for that to be replicated. My guide, just to cement this between us, from now on, if I ask you a question and the answer is no, what is the symbol? And it's that simple. When this hour is over, I'd love for you to sit and do that connection practice again and ask a few questions. You can even put this to the test, is my name John Wayne? And whatever symbol you were given for no, you get that symbol. But you can see how useful this is just when speaking with your own guide. And then when your own loved ones come in, you can ask them simple yes or no questions if communication is a challenge, if you haven't opened that up yet. When I teach people doing readings with loved ones from across the veil, I tell them that if someone across the veil tells you something, shows you something, and you just need to validate it, you can then ask that spirit person, because this is two-way communication, I just want to be sure, is this true? And then you can get a yes or a no. It's really a very useful tool, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll play with that in the coming days.
Thanks, Suzanne. Really helpful. Thanks for the practice. So we have some time for more questions, and we will take them. But before we get into that, I just want to give you a few details about answering the sacred call to mediumship. So as you can tell from Suzanne's answers and the energy on this call, it's going to be an illuminating 7 weeks with Suzanne, where you'll learn skills needed to make a powerful connection with the spirit world, and also learn Suzanne's evidence-based approach to mediumship. The 7-week course takes place on Wednesdays at noon Pacific, starting October the 16th. Now, if for any reason you're unable to join us live, you won't miss the teachings. You'll receive audio and video replays, transcripts, and any handouts through your course homepage, which is like a virtual classroom. Also, I'd like to remind you that we offer a no-risk money-back guarantee on all of our courses, giving a full 2 weeks, in this case, until October the 30th, to make sure you absolutely love it. And as an added option, you are invited to join a private course Facebook group, and that allows you to stay connected to one another through the process. And everyone who registers for this course receives your Sacred Call to Mediumship bonus collection. And this includes Everything is Energy, a video teaching and worksheet from Suzanne, a lesson in remote viewing, video teaching from Suzanne, and also an ebook from Suzanne called Mastering Meditation. And if you really are knowing you want to join us and you're sure of it, and you register by midnight Pacific, October the 12th, you'll receive this added bonus called Who Are You? This is a video teaching and companion worksheet from Suzanne. And in this video lesson, Suzanne provides evidence gained through her direct communications with spirit and thousands of readings to prove there is an eternal part of you that never changes, never dies. And you'll be fascinated by her examples of the greater reality and where the real you fits in with all of this reality. All right, we have had Christine and several others asking about your experience, Suzanne. Particularly, are you open to spirit all the time? When you started, were many trying to get your attention? And are spirits trying to get your attention all the time, or do you close the door to receiving messages? Can you speak to that?
That's a great question. I absolutely am not open all the time. It to me is a deliberate shift, and this has been explained by my guides is their gift to me because they know me. The healing potential of this work is so great, and I so want to serve people. They know I would be constantly on. As it is, if I go to the hairdresser or anywhere where I'm in close proximity to someone, I sometimes scan the field because it's such a blessing to give messages, but that's not our place to do that. Spirit knows what's right. And so we do have boundaries. And when I sit to do a reading, they are there. But otherwise, I'm living my life. It's one of the things I teach in my class is the importance of balance. So important. We can't be working all the time. That being said, I have said to the spirit world, if there's some time you need me, I am definitely here for you. And for that reason, I occasionally get what I call drop-ins of spirits who I've already met and I recognize when they show up. Or sometimes the spirit who I'm going to bring through in a reading later that day or the next day, just sensing their presence and they have a quick message that they have to give. But other than that, they really respect that we are all here to live life in human form, and they give us that time.
Thanks. Sarah is asking, she says, I really want to enroll in your 7-week course. However, every time I try to connect with spirit guides, I get a strange nervous feeling that makes me breathe fast, start to feel lightheaded, fidgety, and then I open my eyes before I'm supposed to. Will that ease off? And why does this happen?
Oh, I mean, what a blessing that is. Anybody who's attended one of the sessions where I actually channel my guides will see and witness the quickening of my breath, and there's a little bit of stuttering and shaking, and at first certainly that can be nerve-wracking. And what it is the physical body adjusting to the higher energy of those in spirit, merging with our energy field. When we learn to not be afraid of that, it's a wonderful way of knowing that indeed someone in the spirit world, a benevolent being, is here to interact with me. How exciting is that? But if it is too nerve-wracking, the simple, easiest way to deal with that is just to say, please back that off. There is a law in the spirit world called the law of personal responsibility that states that we always have dominion over our energy field. And even if the spirit world wants to help you, if you say too much, I can't handle it, they have to comply with that. So you just say, it's a little much. Just back it off and you'll see. They back it off, but they don't leave completely. And that higher energy, over time, you adjust to it and your energy is raised, which is so beautiful because it allows us to discern more and more and more from the spirit world as we advance along this path. That's what I was saying earlier. The fun is that it just keeps getting better.
Thank you so much. You know, Suzanne, I want to pass it over to you to share with us what it is that you're most excited to share with those that take this journey of this course with you.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I have enough fingers and toes to count that in. What I love is that it's so beautiful to see people, no matter where they were in their discernment of the spirit world, open it up even more. It's this, you mean I can do that too? If you've never done mediumship, you establish a connection. If you're already psychic and intuitive, you find your vibration raising and you get even more wows from your connection, your adventures in consciousness than before. The side benefit to this work, I love that people continuously give me feedback and say, I made a difference in that person's life. Look how I healed them. Or look at this feedback that I got. Or I helped that spirit in the spirit world. We call it the sacred call of mediumship for a reason, because I can think of nothing more sacred than to be the voice for those who no longer have a voice. We don't have enough evidence-based mediums out there, and a lot of people really need that evidence to be convinced. It's beautiful to deliver the lovely messages that those in the spirit world have, or the apologies, or the giving of forgiveness. How healing is that? But it's just wonderful to know that you can be the conduit for that. So that's what I'm most excited about, knowing that this course is going to raise the vibration of so many who sign up for it, and we're going to do it together. We're in it together. I hope all of you can feel the energy right now. Every time I do workshops, we come to the end of the day, and instead of fidgeting and people flying for the door, people routinely just sit there. Nobody wants to leave this cocoon of love that we've built. Even on the internet, I could feel the excitement building before this session started, because our souls are excited that we're called to do this work, and it's just like a love bath. So many aspects of this, all of them positive. We stretch ourselves, we grow, we make new friends. How long do I have to go on with this, Anne? It's all good.
It is all good. Thank you. And it sounds like so much of what we need in our world right now is what you're bringing forward with so much love. So I want to thank you for that.
If I could, when you learn that you're a multidimensional being by doing this work, I don't want to minimize the challenges that we have, but it puts the news, it puts politics, it puts everything in a new light. It lessens the drama for us and helps us to be the change, because we're not sucked into the drama and just one of those who are focusing on the problems. We're bringing more love, more light into the whole picture. We're turning up the light of our whole planet just by turning up our own lights. It sounds theoretical, but I can tell you it's not. Those in the spirit world tell us they see our lights, and they know a medium when they see one from that brighter light. They see the light around our world, and we stand out. That's not an egotistical thing. It's an energetic fact. So I hope that you'll join me in being the lights.
Thank you for that. It sounds like important work that you're doing and that you're teaching. So thank you. I'm going to go over to a question that Sharon posted through Facebook. She's talking about forgiveness and how can we forgive ourselves for mistakes and pain that we've caused because of wrong action. It sounds like someone in her life that she has wronged has transitioned, and she wants to know about being able to move through the mistake and forgive herself. And could that be preventing her from making a communication with this person who passed?
Forgiveness is one of the issues my guide Sanaya talk about quite often. And I would say a wonderful practice for forgiving ourselves is to visualize or imagine that we have already crossed the veil and we're having that life review. And we see all the players, and we see from the higher perspective of our soul why we acted the way we did. And in most cases, we'll see we were acting out of ignorance of who we really are. Once you cross the veil, we realize we're souls. But in this world, hurt people hurt people. And we do things because we're hurting. We do things because we don't realize the effects of our actions. And when you can have that higher perspective and have the compassion for yourself that our guides have for us, have that soul's awareness that you were in human mode, but now you see differently, then when you step back into awareness of yourself here, then you have compassion for yourself and you say, I know I would not have done that had I known what I see from that higher perspective. I forgive myself. It's that quick. And that's the kind of healing that happens in readings when we hear from those who actually have that higher perspective all the time now. The beautiful work of being a medium shows us we can shift to that perspective instantly to heal anything. That's what makes this sacred.
Irina and several others have asked this, and I know you spoke a bit about it with your interview and discussion with Stephen, but it bears bringing it up again. They're asking, have you encountered unfriendly or malevolent spirits? And if so, how do you avoid them?
I know that we are the light in expression. And I know that many humans hold the belief that evil spirits are out to get us. That's human consciousness holding that energy pattern. To me, that's a pattern that's over here. And as the light, I simply radiate that out and know that that is our innate protection. I know that my guides are looking out for me and are only going to bring to me benevolent spirits. The 2 times that I had scary people in a reading were people that I wouldn't want to meet in a dark alley. That's who they were when they were here. They showed up that way so we would recognize them, but they didn't come to do us harm. They came to ask for forgiveness in one case, and they came escorted by guides. It was incredibly healing. The other one was just a little bit of a shady character when he was here, and the woman said, "That's my brother." And there was certainly love between them, and he just came to let his sister know he's okay. So it's just a matter of coming to know I am the light. And the more you do this work, the more you sit in that light daily, building the power, because that's one of the things we teach you to do, then that becomes your daily experience.
So Eve says, I just recently started using your mediumship CDs. Starting off with the first one, I find that I sometimes go into a dream state. When I realize this, I remember to say thoughts and come back into the expanded awareness. Is there a reason I go into dream state, and how best can I pass through this to stay in expanded awareness?
Yes, there's nothing wrong with wiggling your fingers and toes when you feel yourself drifting off. You will remain in an expanded state of awareness, but it's that physical body that's falling asleep. Now, sometimes we do go into such a deep state that we're not aware of what's happening, but most of us want to be aware because a lot of learning can take place in these expanded states of awareness. So number one, make sure you're well rested. Make sure you're not too comfortable. If you're lying down or in a really super chair, just get in a nice straight back chair or sit on the floor. Don't be uncomfortable, but not so comfy that you nod off. And then set the intention, I will remain awake. You also may be staying with it too long. Again, it's quality, not quantity. So if you're meditating for over 40 minutes or so, you may just nod off. So that's a whole bunch of practical tools right there, and hopefully 1 or 2 of those will do the trick for you.
Thanks. So this question from Mary came up strongly right now, Suzanne. And I know you can speak to it. Is it possible to have ongoing communication with my beloved son, asking questions, seeking advice, or having him comment on what is happening now in our lives since he has passed? This would mean so much to us.
The answer is yes, it is possible. However, it's going to depend on your son's soul's path, how much communication you're going to have. He may be learning his lessons just like he's off at school somewhere, even in the astral realm. But I've had so many clients who, as a result of knowing that their loved one is here, have gone on to have regular get-togethers with their loved ones. And I'm making this motion because they have journals filled with their communications with their loved ones. That's really a super way to connect. And I teach a 7-step method in the class of how to get in the optimal state for making that connection. It takes a commitment, and it takes the willingness on both sides of the veil for that to happen. But when everything falls into place, it can be truly magical and very healing.
Thank you. Donna says, can I be the medium for myself? I.e., can I both be the sitter and the medium, or must the medium be a third neutral intermediary between the sitter and their loved one in spirit?
Okay, I'm a little bit confused by the question. We can be a medium for our own loved ones across the veil, but if you want to bring through a spirit for someone else without that someone else present, say I have a friend Mary, can I bring through Mary's loved ones without Mary present at all? Yes, you can, but in one of the modules, I think it's module 4, we talk about this triangle of the medium, the sitter, and the loved one, all of us adding our energy to that connection. So I have found by doing it both ways, the energy is so much better when all of us, even those across the veil, are adding our love to the mix. The clarity is so much greater, but it's possible to connect even without that person there.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. Well, this hour has gone by so fast. I know everyone listening and watching this would agree. I want to thank everyone for being with us today and for posting such beautiful, thoughtful questions for Suzanne. Answering the Sacred Call to Mediumship will begin Wednesday, October the 16th. And again, I urge you to visit sacredcallofmediumship.com. You'll learn about the course, all the modules involved, and you can also register there. And remember that if you do so by midnight, October the 12th, you'll receive the special bonus, Who Are You? A video teaching and companion worksheet from Suzanne. Suzanne, I'm going to pass it over to you for final words for our listeners before we close today.
To me and to all of you listening, the most rewarding part of this is coming to know that we are love. I so appreciate so many of your comments that just flood me every day. And people comment on my loving energy, but it's a direct result of connecting with love, higher consciousness daily. It has become my life to share with others that we are capable of being the expression of love for the rest of the world. It just makes your life so much more peaceful, so much more joyful. And that's why we're here, to express our innate nature as that. So I just want to thank everybody for sharing yourselves with me. I look forward to sharing more of myself with you so that all of us can help others know we are the love that we seek.
Thank you again, Suzanne, so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. And on behalf of all of us here at the Shift Network, I wish you well, wish you love, and we look forward to having you on this course or in one in the future. Be well.